Hello, 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 beautiful people. We are going live inside of the Ebony Business Diva Mic Drop series. Thank you so much for jumping in and giving us a little bit of your time today. I got a special guest for you. I'm excited. We're going to get into this health and wellness. This is our next installment of the Mic Drop series. Thank you so much for jumping in and joining us. I'm your girl, Paula Marie, aka the Ebony Biz Diva, aka Black Girls Do Pilates Too, because y'all know I'm a serial entrepreneur and I got a lot of stuff. I got a lot of stuff that I can pull out my bag. Today, we are talking about how we as women can really dig into something super important and different for our bodies that's going to help us with the lifetime of the functionality of our bodies, the health and fitness of our bodies, and also like really diving into our strength as well. But before we get started, I want to start with our sponsor, the Mind Body Business Reset Retreat, which is in sunny Puerto Rico. Let's get into it. So that was all of the tips and the tricks and all of the special things that are happening inside of Puerto Rico this summer. If you are interested in joining a wellness retreat that is going to help you to reset, recharge, and rejuvenate, the details are inside of the description. Definitely click that link and come inside the live Q&A with all your questions. Listen, Linda, I got my sister with me today. I got my Pilates sister with me today. I'm going to bring her on so that we can really get into it. Miss Sonja Price Herbert, let's go. Hey,
Hey. It's great to see you as always.
always great to see you. I had to listen, people. Y'all better like sit down with some popcorn or a glass of wine, some lemonade, whatever you need, because I had to tackle this heifer to get her to lock down a time because she's so booked and busy, but she's just really living her most amazing life. Sonia, can you tell the people who you are and what problems you slay in these internet streets?
Oh, problems ago, many problems. But a couple of I guess a couple of interviews back, I had someone. I think it was actually a good friend of mine, Damali. We were doing an interview, and it was like Coach's Corner, and um, one of the questions she asked me was like, well, who are you? And I said, well, the typical answer would be to say that, I'm Sonja Herbert, I'm an anti-racism educator, blah, 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 blah. But I said, really, before all of that, who was I, or who am I really without all those extra accoutrements, right? So who I really am is first and foremost is I am the daughter of Betty R. Price and J.B. Embry, God rest his soul. Um, I'm their only little girl, and I absolutely love it. I'm the sister to Juan and Trent Price. They are my best friends, and in the middle, and again, the only girl and loving it. I'm the mother of Rebecca and Jeremy Herbert, who are the loves of my life. Um, I am a grand auntie supreme now to a beautiful little girl named Zaya. Hopefully, her middle name will be Sonia, but we don't know yet. I'm trying to get my nephew to to put her middle name as Sonia because she looks like me. Um, yeah, I am all those things, or I'm all the other things that I do. So I'm that first and foremost. All the other things, all the other accoutrements, I am an anti-racism educator, fairly new, but I mean, I've been Black all my life, so there's that. Um, I'm the founder of Black Girl Pilates. I am an master's of social work candidate. I have a bachelor's of social work, so I was in social work for about 20 years, and so I'm working on my master's now. Um, I'm a disruptor. I consider myself an activist within the Pilates industry, the fitness industry, and disruptor in the Pilates industry and the fitness industry. Um, I'm a writer whenever I decide to write. I guess I could call myself an author now because I have an anti-racism affirmation guide. So I guess you could say I'm that too. Um, so yeah. So I guess are those all the names?
Is all that stuff, all that Black girl magic stuff you just
So
dropped on us?
sometimes I forget, I think maybe it is important to talk about like all the things you do, because I feel like we forget that we do a lot of important things out there. And the type of work that I do is not just like in social work, it's not something that you're going to see changes. You're not going to see changes quickly. You may not see things happen until years later or whatever. You're not always thanked. People don't always give a shit about what you're doing. Some people don't even believe what you're doing,
Right.
believe in what you're doing at all. Um, a lot of people didn't really believe in Black Girl Pilates, to be honest. A lot of people didn't. There's people that still don't. Um, Black people who don't believe in it, also, not just white folks, but just Black people too. But it hasn't stopped it from growing. People are still finding this and stuff like that. And, you know, um, I had to come to the realization, is it really about should it really be about how big a following we have necessarily, or is it about creating a space that we never had?
Right.
I've struggled with that. Do we need a blue check? Like, is that important? Like, I didn't have a blue check when people came looking for us. People came looking for y'all for articles and doing all kinds of stuff like that. We didn't have a blue check. Still ain't got a blue check. Don't know if we'll ever have one. I mean, is it really that important? So, yeah. But I think it's
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I think it's important for you to tell people who you are and
Mhm,
all the things that you have, especially the fact that you are going into your master's program for social
mhm.
work. That's important because as Pilates instructors, we're working with bodies, but we're not just working with the bodies, because in order for the bodies to move, we got to really get into the mindset and the mind shift of how
Mhm.
people have been moving through space and using their bodies and what they can believe is possible in
Thank
order for that
you.
change to happen. But also
Mhm.
because you created Black Girl Pilates, because you're into the anti-racism struggle and journey, it's important for us to understand that there's a little bit of background, there's some credibility here, there's a little bit
Yeah.
of, yeah, there's some
Yeah.
expertise that you
Mhm.
have that maybe some of us don't have. And so the
Yeah.
way you're moving things is shifting it in with that expertise. It's important for people to understand that piece.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I definitely agree with that. Um, but I think I also, I think part of it is me like saying, um, I don't want to forget like where I came from or something like that. I've always had this, I'm pretty transparent with things that I feel and experience. And one of the things that scares me the most is is becoming so caught up in myself that I lose focus of the reason why I'm doing what I'm doing. To be so caught up in me, like me being out there, me being forefront, me being, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but sometimes I think people get too, um, up in themselves, where it's really all about you and not really about the thing. Um, and so that's always been a scary thing for me, is to become that person. How people, they talk about like Hollywood superstars, like, what they were like before versus what they are like once they reach Hollywood. And I don't want to be that Hollywood status. You know, I don't want to be that person. I want people to be like, I remember Sonya, and yeah, she's changed or whatever, but she's still like the same Sonya. Like it's she's not any different. I mean, maybe she has more followers. I have way more followers than I did when I first started Instagram. I'm more well known in the Pilates industry now than I was when I started back then. I never saw any of this happening, but um, I don't want to be. I don't want folks to say that I've changed in that kind of way. We change, but not in a, I don't want to change in a way where people are like, wow, like she just is not connected to the community who got me where I am now.
Right. I think it's more growth than change. And I
Mhm.
think, like I talk about this, like every month I talk about something different to my community. And
Mhm.
so the month of February, we talked about elevation
Mm.
because it looks
Mhm.
different to different people, but your
Yes.
world changes when you elevate. It just will
Oh
change.
yeah.
The people around you will
The
change as you
people around.
elevate. And then another, I guess, synonym for that would be growth as well. Like the trajectory of your journey in this world as you move into the person that you want to be, the entity that you want to be, the legacy that you want to create,
Mhm.
things are going to shift and change. And you got to be okay with that at some
Yeah.
point in time. Because I
Yeah.
always say the people that are for you, they going to cheer you on in your elevation, in your growth, and in
Mhm.
your journey.
Yeah.
So, can I ask you? I want to take it all the way back. Okay. Well, this is the Mic Drop series, and the Mic Drop series all month long. I'm interviewing badass women that are doing badass things with their business, and they are bringing other women along with them. So they are elevating other people, and because they are elevating others, they themselves are elevating inside of their businesses as well. And so
Mhm.
we met on these Instagram streets when I slid into
We
your DM. I
we did.
believe it was a Saturday. So, because see, I'm a theater person, so I can remember where I am when things happen. And I wanted to create this group that represented women of color inside of Pilates, whether they were instructors or whether they were just loving the format and wanting to know
Yeah.
and grow in it. And I
Mhm.
wanted to create this whole thing. And of course, it was going to be called Black Girls Do Pilates too. So I was inviting Pilates instructors to join, right? And
Mhm.
so I slid into, I was just looking like, who's a Pilates instructor? Who has Pilates attached to them? So I slid in Sonja's DMs and I was just like, hey, I'm starting this group, check it out. And Sonja said, oh, that's great. She says, do you know there's already a group like that? And I said, no. And she said,
Mhm.
yeah, here's the link. You might want to check it out. And that was it. She
Mhm.
didn't say, girl, I'm already doing this thing. Like, what are you doing? Like, so I
Yeah.
checked out Sonja's group and she had hundreds of people on she had hundreds of people already in her group. So, me being the smart, Capricorn girl that I am, when I did the math, it wasn't mathing on my side, but it was mathing on her side. So I went into my group and I said, look, abandon ship. Okay, here's the link to this group, Black Girl Pilates.
Mhm.
This is where you want to be, right?
Mhm.
And I joined, got accepted, and just kind of stepped into a world where I didn't know there were so many other people that looked like me and thought like me, and
Yeah.
there's so many different pieces of expertise to them inside of this culture
Mhm.
called Pilates. But
Mhm.
not only do you have the group for professionals, there's a group for just Black women
Mm-hmm.
who are looking for Pilates classes in their area, that have questions about if Pilates is for them, that
Mm-hmm.
want to see other people that represent them
Mm-hmm.
inside of this world of Pilates, because we just don't see that inside of the culture of Google, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
what was your why for even starting that?
My why. uh I just wanted to know why I wasn't seeing myself. Like I didn't realize, and it's crazy, and this is the whole like decolonization thing for us as Black people, but I didn't realize until literally years later, that my Pilates journey started with a Black woman in a Black school with Black people. I didn't realize it, you know. But then I also, at the same time, I wondered, like, well, why? But why don't we know about this? Because I was like, I didn't know about it.
Yeah,
I had never heard of it.
right.
You know, I was told about it by a friend who's Black.
Mhm.
He was a dancer. I was actually his dance assistant. We were really close friends, still close friends to this day. And he told me about it. And, that same teacher actually is in our group. And she was my daughter's ballet teacher. Like, she was teaching ballet. I was going to her ballet classes. I loved her. She's great. She still is a wonderful person. Um, but I mean, even before that, like I was just, well, no, it wasn't before that. But but yeah, after I started taking Pilates with Cynthia Shipley, and I'm looking at these Black women, I'm like, wow, but nobody really knows about this. I lived in Harlem at the time, and and once I got certified, I was only Black apprentice. I had one Black teacher trainer who was also in our group, Tila Anderson. But I hadn't really seen any other Black people there. I was like, what the hell? So as I started to work for, other studios, not many, Equinox and stuff like that still. But I think Equinox is where I probably found the most Black folks who are still friends to this day. Some of them are in the group. Um, and but still I was just like, there's not that many, you know. And my friend Michael Blackman was the first Black man that I knew who had ever been a Pilates coordinator for Equinox. And it's crazy we're still talking about first, but we are. Um, so I just wanted to find myself, and I wonder if other people felt the same way, having conversations with my friends who were Black and teaching Pilates. And I was like, is there a lot of us out here? And they're like, oh, not really. And I was like, surely there must be more. Um, but you know, the folks who really, not just that, not just finding it for me, finding a space for me, um to feel seen, you know um but I was blessed to eventually meet Diane Harvey Salam at a fashion show. I've since had to correct the story because I was just like, I don't think that's a complete story. But anyway, met her at a fashion show and was telling her that I was a Pilates instructor, found out she was a Pilates instructor. And she was actually starting Pilates instructors of color. And I was like, I've been looking. And so she's like, you need to come. And that's where I met her. I met Sarita Allen. I met Marcia Dater. They're all part of the group. I met Dallas Fuentes. All folks who've been teaching Pilates longer than I was probably ever thinking about it. And we couldn't continue because they're still performing and doing all kinds of stuff. You know, um, but it still stayed on my mind, and I still just felt lonely. It was just completely out of loneliness and just wanting to see some example of us. Because I was like, every time I turn around, I look in a magazine, it's white people. Look on the internet, it's white people. Go to work for a Pilates studio, it's white people. Like, surely there has to be more than what I know out here. Um, and what really sort of pushed things over was, it's amazing how breaking up with a man or a person will put you forward on a lot of stuff. It's like,
It's a lot of clarity, honey. It gives you a lot of
don't
clarity. You just
open,
be like, yo, I need to focus on me. What's going on?
yeah, don't it just open your mind up and everything. And
Your
honey,
hair
I
too,
have gotten out of
everything.
this really horrible relationship, and I was sitting on my couch just wondering what I was supposed to be doing with my life, because I was like, oh, because I thought, I thought my life was going to be sort of wrapped up in him. Thank God it wasn't. Jesus. Thank you, like Jesus, Jamal, Shandrika, Christ, that it wasn't. But so I just sat down and I was like, let me see if I can find some Black Pilates instructors. And I was already following a few people already. Um, and Mickey Fit, who is my cousin. I know she must be my cousin. We got the same last name. I reached out to her and I was like, "Do you know other Black people with these?" So she's like, "Yeah." So she gives me a couple of names. I got a couple of names from someone else, and um, and it just kind of started from there. And I don't know if y'all know much about Sagittariuses, but honey, we are we are extremely creative. Like I'm creating now as we're talking. Like I've already thought about a bunch of different ideas of things and stuff. And so I sat there, and once I get started on something, like I just keep going. I can't stop. I just boom, and da 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 da. And I found all these people, you know. I think I probably found Teresa Ellis that same day at Pilates Bar and Jams, and like a bunch of other people. Mickey Fit was just like, okay, this person and this person and this person. And I was like, okay, so now I got to start like a group, because how we're going to keep up with each other, because we can't do it on Instagram. So I got to start a group. So I started the group. And from there it just kind of blossomed. So I'd say initially part of the why was kind of for me. So I don't think that's being selfish really, because I wanted to see myself. And then once I started meeting, like credible people like you and many others, and I was just like, who felt the same way, like, boy, I've been looking for myself too. And then boom, here it is. um
Yeah, I feel like that I feel like there's a need for us to see ourselves
mhm.
in all places. Like
Yeah.
regardless of where you are, what facet of the world you live in, there's a
Mhm.
need for us to see ourselves, and
Mhm.
there's a power when we come together to really like talk about our experiences, to talk about the lack thereof, and also to
Mhm.
figure out our place in it. Because once we
Yeah.
figure out that our
Mhm.
power and we connect our power, it becomes
Mhm.
super strong.
Mhm.
So the next thing I want to kind of shift into is that we've got this amazing group. We've got the pandemic that hit.
Mhm.
We've got the whole thing with George Floyd, the whole shift into Black Lives Matter. And
Mhm.
then literally when all of that happened for me personally, we're all dealing with personal things. My son was going through a surgery in the middle of the pandemic. I was literally traveling across the country in a car to see him because I was too afraid to fly. And there's this whole like thing that happened and erupted
Mhm.
inside of the Pilates community during
Yeah.
that time. And
Mhm.
I literally had to go into the group just to get grounded and figure out what was going on. I was calling people, I was DMing. I was
Yeah.
like, what is going on?
Mhm.
So let's talk a little bit about that shift of what happened. Because I feel like for me, in layman's terms, what happened was there was an insensitivity of what we were seeing displayed in the world inside of our own community.
Mhm.
And because of the insensitivity or care or
Mhm.
consideration,
Mhm.
there was this whole like revolt that happened inside of
Mhm.
our own community. That's my
Yeah.
take on it.
Yeah. I
I
think
want
that
to hear
that's
what
a
your take on it is.
yeah. I think what I would add on to that is that that we actually noticed that it's something that's been going on for since the beginning of time. But if we're talking about Pilates specifically, it's something that's been going on since Pilates started. And so this whole pandemic, the George Floyd thing, opened our eyes to like, they really do not want us here.
Don't give a
They
damn.
do not want us here. Um, and so, there's the Pilates Method Alliance, and previous administrations, I want to make that clear, previous administration, not current, previous administration, um, there were many things that they had done. And I believe that, many of our folks in the group just got tired. And they're like, this is straight bullshit. Like, this is like, no. Um, so they, many of them went in and they said something about it. And I went and backed them up. I can't say or really remember really if I don't even think I knew um, that people were going in and saying like, what you're posting about, what you're doing is just performative. Like, this is bullshit, blah blah blah. Those are my words, not theirs. You
Right.
know, and I found out. So of course I'm going to go and back my folks up. Um, and because of the folks in Black Girl Pilates, yourself included, this industry has made this much of a change, which is a big change, really.
Yeah.
We are the reason, Black Girl Pilates is the reason why this industry has made the changes that it has made. Because before how many black faces can you say that you saw anywhere? If you did see any black faces, it was the typical ones. Unfortunately, Chris Robinson and Brett Howard were the ones who had to carry the black community, as if they were the only black instructors out there,
Yeah.
and there weren't. As they found out that they were, not them, but the Pilates Method Alliance, the Pilates industry, that there were many of us, and counting now. It's growing as a result. So, that whole situation changed uh, the Pilates industry a lot. It's not, is it enough? No. And that's why I say, even though it's a small change, right? But it was big enough for us, and it needs to keep getting bigger. It can't stay here. Like, it has to get bigger. It's not about, it's not just having our faces there. It's not just putting us there and say, look, look at all these black people we have at our summit and our conference and blah, blah, blah. And look, and we're going to, raise money for NAACP. And I mean, it's not that, you know, um, what we're asking for is genuine change behavior, is, actually looking inside yourself as a white person and saying, yes, I too have benefited and been a part of this whole systemic racism situation. Um, Regardless of who I'm married to, who I grew up with, who said what black person said that I'm actually all right and I'm blacker than them and all this stuff, you know, that you have benefited from it, and we have not. We've not been able to benefit from it. And
Right.
it's still an ongoing work for us. Um, it's not easy work to do,
Right.
but it's an ongoing thing. And I try to make it. I try to remind the white Pilates community um, who made these changes, because y'all didn't. You didn't make the changes. You weren't the ones. I said yesterday on a live that um, you know the folks in Black Girl Pilates, many of them put their reputations, their businesses, their friendships, their relationships online by going on and speaking out, by writing letters to the PMA and saying, I will no longer be a part of this organization. I'm standing by my sisters. We had um, the four folks who were on the board. They brought in primarily as black faces, thinking that they were going to tell them what to do, and found out that they couldn't tell them what to do because they weren't there for that. Um, now we have a black um, director of the Pilates Method Alliance, which is a first. We have a black board president of the board of the board, which is a first. We got black people on the board, which is not a first anymore, but I guess you could say in a way it is kind of a first. But all of that, led to the changes that you're seeing in the Pilates industry now, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I think that it's important to also, because I want to shift gears from the professional side to just the regular, client of Pilates. But before I do that, I want to talk about and just shine some light on the safe space
Mhm.
of Black Girl Pilates inside of that group where we're able to share information with each other, and
Mhm.
we're able to ask questions, we're able to
Mhm.
bounce ideas, we're
Mhm.
able to create, we're able to collaborate, we're able to
Mhm.
cultivate this energy that starts inside of this space first
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
that we can like create this web
Mhm.
that's like our foundation. Like, I got you, you got me. Okay, when you put it out there, I got you. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay, when you doing it, oh, okay. I'm like, let me clear my calendar. I got you,
Yeah.
girl.
Yeah.
So we do this thing inside. It's hundreds of us from all over the world. It's not just
Mhm.
US based.
Yeah.
Barcelona, Brussels, like, you know,
Nigeria,
eh,
Ghana,
Ghana.
the Caribbean, Barbados,
Hey, we everywhere.
Bahamas. Yeah.
We're everywhere. So when we move, we're moving as a collective,
Mhm.
and maybe not all at the same time,
Mhm.
but at least we know we have a central location, a hub where we can
Yeah.
go get the info. Like,
Yeah.
what's going on? I don't know. Let me check the group.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
that's
That's usually where you find out what's happening.
that's ground central. Yeah. So there's this movement that's happening inside of the movement first.
Mhm.
It's not just one person jumping out there, that it is a thoughtful process where we are really intentionally putting one foot in front of the other and
Mhm.
not just moving. And I think that's important because sometimes when there is a shift or a movement,
Mhm.
it may happen with one person just moving on their own all willy-nilly,
Yeah.
and now everybody is like, well, shoot, we got to back them up now. Like, we don't move like that inside of our group. It's a very safe
Yeah.
space for us to
Yeah.
really have a thoughtful, intelligent conversation
Mhm.
around the things that are affecting us,
Mhm.
whether it's on a big scale where we take it outside the group, or whether it's on a big scale that we keep it inside the group. And I wanted to share that because safe
Mhm.
spaces are important.
Mhm.
Moving with a thought is important. Not being considered a vigilante is important.
Mhm.
Understanding there are
Mhm.
educated women with tons of experience that have touched and
Mhm.
been on the ground doing the work forever and have a
Mhm.
history that can reach back. That's important
Mhm.
because now we've got generations that
Mhm.
are moving in the same way. So it's not
Mhm.
just one person, it's not just Sonja, they're generations that have touched, people of importance inside of the community that look like us. So I just wanted to put that out there. That's why the link to the group is inside of the description. Please, if you're interested in learning something different about your body, if you're wondering why you're beating your body up, honey, and it ain't working, I'm gonna need you to join this good group.
Mhm.
Okay. I just checked. She's got like 955 people that are just interested in Pilates. It should
Yeah.
be so much more. So if you want to stop following the Joneses and doing things that the Joneses are doing that ain't for you, Shaquila, I'm gonna need you to click the link. Okay. because you know our bodies are different. So
Yeah.
let's talk about that. Why should Black bodies be even thinking about Pilates? They heard from me, girl. I want you to answer that question because they already heard from me. They know how I feel.
Yeah. You know what? I think now, um, I was, I have a, mentorship group that I do specifically for Black Pilates instructors who are new, or even I've had some people who've been teaching for a while in it
Hmm.
before. And one of the things I start out with is giving them the history of Pilates, the Black history that they don't know about, that I didn't even know about. Many of us didn't even know about. Um, and so I think it's important that they realize that there is a connection um, for us to the Pilates method through Kathleen Stanford Grant, who is our elder, our mother. The reason why we are all teaching, to be honest, because I don't know. I mean, there's been lots of things started by white people that Black people end up, doing or whatever, but Pilates, I never knew that there was a Black person who was even connected to that. And when I found out and realized that they were trying, you know, the white Pilates community, they loved her. They didn't want to tell you that she's Black, but they loved her though. They might talk about it like Black History Month, but they really loved her. They co-opted her. They wanted her for their own. They use her for their own gain, all that stuff. My opinion, not everybody else's opinion in the group, but definitely mine for sure. Um, and so I think it's important to know our connection to the Pilates method and that she was literally one of the greatest, to be honest. I mean, people talk about, oh, I work with Kathy Grant and blah, 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 and whatever, and all this kind of stuff, you know, but they don't talk about like her Blackness. One, because they can't do that. And they're not going to, because they just want what she has to offer. So I
Right.
think it's important to emphasize our connection to the Pilates method and her major, major contributions to it, and the many, many, many Black dancers, because Pilates is not for dancers, but she was a dancer. The many Black dancers um, whose bodies she made sure could still get that leg up to 12 o'clock and beyond. The great Sarita Allen, who is my grand diva, she
That's
was up.
mama. That's ma right
That's
there.
mom. I mean, she can tell you the story. Like Kathy Grant is the reason why that woman is a pure diva.
In
Many
every sense of the word,
every
like,
sense of the word, and
love
many
it.
others out there. Even my teacher Cynthia Shipley, she was introduced to Pilates by Kathy Grant because she was going to dance here in Harlem. Diane Harvey Salam, first
Yes.
dance here. I mean, so there's so many of them out there who are introduced by Kathy, and I'm sure they're like, "What is this method? Let me go find out how I can do it." And she wasn't certifying anybody, so she had
Right.
to send them to somebody who was. So they're like, "Let me go find this because, you know." And when you see yourself, you also want to be that, you
Right.
know. So if
Right.
I see just like now with, we've had Obama as president, we're like, shit, I can be a president now. And his wife is Black as all Black anyway, you know, and regardless of how we all feel about our vice president, she's still, she's a, she's a Black woman. So now it's just like, oh, I can be president and I can be vice president and I can be somebody's, partner and run the country behind the scenes. Oh, yes.
Yes.
You know?
Absolutely.
So when
Yeah,
you
I
see
love the history of Pilates because
Mhm,
I feel like when I tell it, people don't realize that it's for them. The images don't look like you.
mm,
And if you go to my Instagram, you'll already see. I always tell people that my like my journey is to show you that I'm just a Pilates nista with hips and thighs because You need to know that hips and thighs can do this format. You need to know that hips and thighs was meant for this format. You need to know you can be stronger, that you can get older in age, but your body will stay younger with
Mhm.
this format. You need to know you can rehab with this format. You need to know that it is for you because Joseph trusted bodies that looked like your bodies,
Mhm.
right? And
Yeah.
and even though we're not represented, you need to know that in the history of
Mhm.
it.
Yeah.
So I love the whole story and just understanding that it's not just for dancers. You know what I'm saying? Like when I start talking about Joseph, I get like glassy eyed, like I'm talking about a rock star. Like I am such
Mhm.
a fan of his just because he built this system that's still relevant and relative today.
Mhm.
He built equipment by hand that still is
Yeah.
relevant and relative. There's nothing that changes except for, the materials that are used, but the basic shape and build of the equipment and how it works and moves with the spring,
Mhm.
everything is the same. Nothing has changed. He is and like the biggest celebrity for me because he developed something that did not need to evolve over time. It is still
Yeah.
relevant and relative to what we do. The
Mhm.
thing that bothers me, and before I say that, I will say that when people started sliding into my DMs
Mhm.
and asking me about Pilates because I used to do a lot of video. I still do, but not so much that I'm not inside a studio as often. But I
Yeah.
used to get on the equipment like weekly and take like little snippets of video, and
Mhm.
they would see me doing, Pilates on the equipment. The thing that really, I guess, pushed my why is that people
Mhm.
would ask me more questions because they didn't see themselves
Mhm.
represented other than me. So that was like my purpose. My
Yeah.
purpose was to show it, not to really try to convert, but
Mhm.
to have you see it. Because we have this thing in business where you need to see something at least. It used to be 17 times, now it's up to like 33 times. So if
Mhm.
you're an entrepreneur and you think you show something one time and somebody's going to jump on it, I'm
Yeah.
sorry, baby. Okay, honey bunches
Yeah.
of oats, it don't work that way. It's up to, because of the presence of online, 33 times they need to see it over and over and over and over again before it starts to take shape and root into their spirit, their brains, and they start to think about how it can work for them.
Mhm.
So it's my job to be that 33 plus. I need
Mhm.
to give you 33 plus ways to see Pilates with all these hips and all these thighs
Mhm.
in this black chocolate, magic with
Mhm.
this North Carolina like Southern swing.
Yeah.
I need you to see all that.
Yeah. I mean, and I have to say, like, um, I have to be very thoughtful with even the people that I highlight on Black Girl Pilates because there's a lot to unpack there. There's a colorism thing for me because again you go look for yourself, right? So this right here, this ain't no dark chocolate. This is some very something else.
You a latte girl. You a
Yeah,
latte. You like a chai. You like a
but
chai.
yeah. But I mean, so I'm gonna go towards that looks like me, even body type. So I had to
Mhm.
be really cognizant of who I put on, um, who I promote. And I mean, it's really deep thought for me, um, because I'm also decolonizing my mind too.
Right.
There's, again, the colorism thing, light is light is great and being darker is black. Those are the messages that we were fed. Those are the messages that I was fed. Oh, you're so pretty. Not I'm pretty for a black girl. Oh, you're so pretty because you got this light skin. Da, da, da. All that bullshit right there. So I have to work through that. Um,
Can I just add too that with the Black Lives Matter movement, it reversed. Like that, people, like, you look at marketing now is looking for the like the darkest of your
Darkest of the
shirt,
dark,
the
girl.
darkest, like they were plucked from the
Yes,
motherland, honey. Like,
girl, right?
yes.
But that's not even right either, to
Mm-mm.
be honest.
Yeah.
That's
So
not
it
even
reversed.
right either. Um, and so when it comes to Pilates, it's like, you know, particularly we're talking more about like body types, right? Um, and so I remember this is the story that I tell often. So I had two major platforms reach out to me, and they said, "Listen, we would love to have." Um, they were talking about me. We'd love to have you come on and teach class. Boom, boom, boom. Put it up on our platform. Whatever. La 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 la. Right? Major
Right.
platforms. Um, well, of course, they're going to look for me. Light skin. I was a little thinner at the time, whatever, but I was just like, I'm going to give y'all what you did not ask me for. So so one platform, I reached out to Teresa Ellis, and Teresa
Mhm.
Ellis is the complete exact opposite of what what people be
Exact
wanting. And I was
opposite.
like, that's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you this dark skinned woman. She's bald. She's queer as fuck. She's loud, and she doesn't give a fuck about what you have to say. So
And
that's
simply
it. Here's
beautiful,
the person.
and simply beautiful in the practice, I may add.
Yes, and
Beautiful.
an amazing teacher, an absolutely amazing teacher, and she hasn't been
Absolutely.
teaching that long, but she is incredible. So send them that person. So, second group reaches out and they're like, "Hey, we're looking da 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 da." They're thinking I'm gonna come. Nope. So I go and I ask Chantel Douglas. Chantel's like 6'1". She is a big old curvy brown skinned girl. Also, ain't nothing wrong about being loud. Black women are loud. That's who we are. So if y'all don't like it, then you can fuck yourselves. But I sent them the complete opposite of what they thought I was going to send them. And so I have been, and I try my best to make an effort, even with our conferences, to um, I'm trying to even be better with that, like bringing in people that we don't typically see, you know, um, who probably wouldn't even step out of their comfort zone to do stuff, or feel like that they could do it or whatever. Um, and so I'm having to work through those things myself. I haven't arrived just because I started the group. I mean, I have my own things that I have to work through as well. And I love seeing, you know, folks like you, folks like Gwen. I think Gwen's last name is Head. Um, and whose bodies are not whatever the fuck these Pilates bodies they claim that they are. That's a that's a white supremacist thing. And y'all be out there doing some amazing Pilates. I'm just like, I can't, I was like, I don't know if I can do that Afro Pilates girl because
The Afro
I gotta
Pilates is, now let me tell you something
be
about that
that
Afro Pilates.
hard.
Because when I went to the Black Girl Pilates, I think it was the second one,
Mhm.
Black Girl Pilates conference, for one reason, two reasons:
Uh-huh.
Maria Earl and
Oh,
LaBriche,
yeah. Mhm.
because I'd seen them on the covers and inside of the Pilates magazines. I've seen
Mhm.
them inside of the Balanced Body,
Yeah.
magazines for equipment. And
Mhm.
again, when we open up these things, we looking for ourselves. And then I saw the name, I saw the
Mhm.
face, I
Mhm.
saw the face, I saw the
Mhm.
face in the book, I saw the face in the group. They
Mhm.
were presenting. Oh, I'm there because I'm like
Mhm.
little fans. I'm geeking out,
Yeah.
right? But then in that process, I ran into Diane Harvey, who we're connected and we didn't even know it. We're connected through African dance with Baba
Mhm.
Chuck Davis.
I remember that conversation.
I
I was
had no idea. We were like at the happy hour sipping wine and just
Mhm.
talking. And she was like, "Oh, yeah, I work with Chuck in New York." And I was like, "Really?" Like, so the connectivity of how we move in movement, because it's movement, right? It's
Yeah.
body work. This
Mhm.
body work practice, regardless of yoga, Pilates, African dance, whatever, there's like, there's so many different lanes where we intersect.
Mhm.
And I felt at home
Mhm.
because I went there for two reasons: to
Mhm.
connect with these women that I had seen being representing us and
Mhm.
representative of us, right,
Mhm.
inside the Pilates industry, but connected with so many other women through so many different ways in so many different areas. So the Afro Pilates, like, I was doing Pilates and wasn't even aware of it in 1988 in a little room in the communications building at North Carolina Central University. Had no idea that I
Mhm.
was doing Pilates through that work
Mhm.
until I started teaching Pilates and
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
literally seeing the connection. And even through gyrotonic, which is another
Yeah.
certification entirely. I
Mhm.
just completed my certification this Sunday. Got my
Okay, I saw all my black girls. I was like, "Y'all been doing there."
18 months, honey, 18 months
Yeah.
of studying and practicing and teaching. Um, the movement, some of the movement is so representative of African dance. And so
Mhm.
when you think things aren't for you, you really have to understand that a lot of what you are, who you are inside
Mhm.
of being a black body, is represented inside of this work called Pilates. So
Yeah.
you really just have to be open enough to embrace it.
Mhm.
Yeah. But yeah, that was such a wild conversation, just connecting the
Yeah.
dots to that.
I remember sitting I think I might have been sitting next to you or nearby listening to that conversation, and, the connections the last time I think we were in person was, like, 2019.
Hmm.
So, I remember seeing these connections with people, like, walking up and actually seeing people in person, versus, like, talking to them in the group, and you're like, "Oh my god, you're blah blah blah, and you're this person, you're that person," and just, and seeing the camaraderie that sort of started, like, a lot of friendships started as a result of the group. Um, I remember when we first started, the conversations were more literally like coming in and just, "Oh my god, I'm so glad that there's a place where I can visit." I mean, literally, people were just sort of bonding
Exhaling in the
experiences,
group.
yeah,
Yeah.
experiences, because I thought it was just me. Like, I thought, I
Yes.
didn't know, this is what, "So you too?" And they're like, "Yeah." And so it happened like that for a while, and then eventually, like, we started to get into, you know, um, connecting relationships, and people started doing things together, and then people started working at other people's studios because they're like, "Oh my god, now it's just like, I mean, I don't know if you and Yorona knew each other prior to Black Girl Pilates, but
Nope. Did
no?
not. I went into the group ranting because
Mhm.
somebody
I remember that day.
yeah,
I
the
remember that.
short version is that I have always been a manager in fitness,
Mhm,
and I wanted to branch out and really kind of freelance a little bit in these DMV streets. And I went into a Pilates studio, interviewed, auditioned
mhm.
multiple times, right? Which I wanted to say, this is really not how you onboard someone, but hey, that's why I'm the Ebony Biz Diva. So
Right,
anyway,
exactly.
and then it was like, hey, are you PMA certified? And I was like, no. We have to understand my history. I've been teaching for so long that when I first became certified, PMA was just
Didn't
like,
even
it wasn't
exist.
even a thing.
Yeah.
So why would I go backwards to get something that I really don't need to make me credible, because I'm already amazing and fantabulous as an instructor? Like, why would I do that?
Yeah,
But
mhm.
no shame or shade for anyone's process. It just wasn't my process and my journey.
Right.
And I was told that in order for me to be paid fully, I would need to be PMA certified, which, as a manager, someone that
Mhm.
hires fitness professionals, I don't care what you have. I only care what you can do. I only care how
Exactly.
you can teach, how safe and effective you are. How can you translate the work onto the body that's in front of you right now?
Yeah.
That is the only thing that I care about safely, so
That's
that that client can move from point A to point B to point Z. That is the only thing I care about. I don't care what your paper says. I only care how you can articulate the work. And so it made me feel like, wow, I've been kind of out of touch. So that was the post. Like, am I out of touch? Like, is this like how the world looks outside? Because if
yeah.
so, I'm just gonna stay in the little company I'm at, being a a group fitness director,
Yeah.
and call it a day. And
Yeah.
people were like, no, that's not how it is. And Carla actually hit me up and she said, you should hit up Urana. And
Mhm.
that's how it was. I don't know Carla. I don't
Mhm.
know Urana, but I'm inside this group, and this group is a safe space. And this safe space allowed me some other avenues to
Yeah.
figure out. And I also got connected with Randy from Rooted as
Yeah.
well through
Mhm.
that process.
Mhm.
So, sight unseen, we're family.
Yeah.
Sight unseen, it's a safe space.
Mhm.
Sight unseen, you can purge,
Mhm.
which is not always, we don't always have those spaces to do so. That's healthy for us because it allows us to show up every day and still be the amazing professionals
Mhm.
that we are without getting bogged down in the politics and the hypocrisy of what you may meet,
Mhm.
because everybody's perception of how this thing looks is just really their perception.
Yeah.
You just have to align yourself with people that have the same thought process as you. So
Yeah.
that was my healing moment
Mhm.
inside of Black Girl Pilates as a professional. But oh my God, I have met so many amazing clients through that process of being in all these different places. And
Mhm.
actually, I was at karaoke the other night, and one of my clients from Urana Studio, which is Epiphany Pilates, I want to shout her out, in Fairfax, and
Mhm.
Rooted Pilates is in DC,
Mhm.
by Capitol Hill in DC, Washington, DC. And he was just like, "Hey, Paula, how are you?" I hadn't talked to him in so long, but
Mhm.
because we worked so closely together,
Mhm.
clients and Pilates instructors, and the changes that you create in their bodies,
Yeah.
there's that heart thing, that spirit thing, that soul thing that you tap into as well when you create that type of healing in people's
Mhm.
bodies.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. That's those connections that folks were able to make in the group were like, I mean, those are always like fantastic. I'm like, and now y'all are like friends now, and y'all do all these things together, and it's really cool. I mean, people who had never met. I mean, Labrice and Maria were two of those people who had never met. I'm not even sure
Oh,
if they knew who each other were, but they had never met, and they met in person and decided we should do something together. So I mean, there's been all of those wonderful connections and even down
oh,
like working for people and
and it's important to know Labricia's, is she still in
people in
Switzerland?
Switzerland. Yeah.
Yeah, and Maria's in Barcelona.
Maria's in Barcelona.
I told y'all we worldwide, y'all. Y'all not, I don't know, I don't
Yeah.
know how else to let y'all know that
Yeah.
we're amazing up in this group,
Yeah.
okay?
Denmark. Yeah. We have somebody in Denmark, or two people in Denmark. We used to have folks in Germany. We do have people in Germany. Sorry. We
Yep.
have two in Germany.
Mhm.
We have a lot of people in the UK, like a lot of
Yep.
in the UK. I'm loving the folks in Africa, like our sister Sita. She's the first Black woman to start a Pilates studio in Accra, Ghana, or probably in Ghana. Period. I don't think they've
And
been.
it's gorgeous.
Yes,
It's
she's been trying to get me to come there, and
I can come now. Now
she's
that
like,
I've quit my regular job and I'm off the plantation
yes,
and I
yeah,
have freedom to live my best life, now I can go help her out.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know what my man would say about that. Me going away for.
Take
I
him.
don't know if I want to be away from that. I mean, he could always go. I don't know. He might be all right with it, but yeah, she's been wanting me. She's like, "Oh, you can come down here and be here for like 3 to 6 months and blah blah blah." Um, but it's just it's been amazing just seeing how folks how you all have inspired each other to do things, to keep going. I mean, I've seen everybody, go from here to there. Like I've seen you grow tremendously, and I was like, she's got this. I mean, there's so many things I didn't know about you. I was like, just when I thought I knew you, I didn't. I feel like
I'm
every
like
day
you.
surprise with
I
you.
create
Like
way
I'm
too
like,
damn
wow,
much.
she's got
I need to
but you're
sit down.
Capricorn too, so we get along really well. And you're also a very you're a creative mind. I mean, you come from a dance background, movement background. You also come from theater. I was in theater, um, but we're always creating. We're always wanting to. There's always more out there for us, and it can't just like you can't just be here. Like you just can't be here. There has to be more. It can't just be this one thing. It has to be more to this. And so I think that's why we're just constantly creating and sort of recreating uh,
Right.
ourselves. You know, I mean, I'm trying to figure that out now. Like, what I'm going to look like. What do I really want Black Girl Pilates to look like? You know, um, in the coming years, all kinds of things are just going through my mind as Sagittarius, and all that stuff. But I'm
And you're
very
the only Sag I like.
yeah.
I'm saying.
You don't
I'm
like
putting it.
Sagittarius?
It's been a lot. It's been a lot. That's a
We got
wine
best friends as
that's a wine
Sagittarius.
conversation, girl. We can't do
Oh,
this
okay.
on the air. But child, wow, when I tell you the story, you'll be like, okay, I understand.
I must have been a different kind of Sagittarius then.
But I love you, Sonia. I love you with everything that I have. I'm
Oh, I love
excited.
you.
Inside of the Mic Drop series, the link is in the description for you to sign up for the free bag. So inside of the freebie bag, all of the presenters have dropped something free that's going to help you. And so today we're talking about your health and your wellness because as entrepreneurs, it is so important. None of my clients are really taking their health and wellness seriously because we're spending long hours building our legacy in our businesses, right? And I
Mhm.
get it. I'm the same way. If this was not my job, to go out and teach Pilates and the kickboxing and the Afro Pilates and the strength training. That child, I teach everything. Listen, if that wasn't my job, I would be in the exact same situation. But you can have it. You can definitely have it. You just need to align yourself with people that are going to help you flush that out inside of your business. So inside of the grab bag, I want you to sign up because Sonia has a link to her newsletter. There's also a link for you to join Black Girl Pilates, the non-instructor group, so that you
Mhm.
can start to like grow. Find an instructor inside of your location that's close by. And a lot of us have virtual classes as well. Afro Pilates is virtual. There are no excuses why you can't get this good wellness and this good fitness. So I want you to just think about that as you're opening up your freebie bag, right? And I want you to click the link and join the email list so that you can get the monthly newsletters, which are also your monthly reminders to take care of yourself first. Put the oxygen mask on yourself first
Mhm.
so that you can grow the business and the legacy that you want to build and have a life that will be able to enjoy it.
Mhm.
That
Yeah.
part.
Yeah. That part. That
Any last words that you would like to leave with the people?
hmm. As you were saying that, I was
We
like,
never not for words, y'all.
what last words would I leave with people, I guess. Oh, um, I would say, don't let anybody steal your black person magic. I mean, that's for everyone.
Yeah,
I think the world spends its time trying to take from black people all the time,
right.
whether it's something that we literally like we are the world. It sounds like that song, doesn't it? But we are, so don't allow Instagram or Facebook or any of these social media platforms to tell you who you are as a Black person, who you should be, why you should be this type of Black person. Don't let them tell you what your life should look like as a Black person, if you should be a boss bitch or not, or, maybe you want to just raise your children, as a Black person. We're just trying to live as Black people. And so, just try to, I think to the best of our Black ability, we should try to be as Black as possible and be as joyous as possible, because the world doesn't want to see us joyful. They don't want to see us happy. They don't want to see us successful, whatever that might look like. And so I hope that, this conversation between me and my sister, has been inspirational for you. Um, to do whatever that might be, whether it's taking Pilates for the first time, because you actually see people, or whether it's making a decision to change your career and do something else or whatever. I hope that, don't allow the world to take away your magic. And magic can look like a lot of different things, so yeah, that's kind of it.
Hey, thank you so much, sis, for joining me today, sharing some mic dropping like nuggets on how we are fighting the good fight on the behind the scenes inside of the Pilates community. Some of the changes that are happening or have happened because of this amazing group that you started, just because you did not see representation of yourself being reflected.
Yeah.
So, listen, there was an idea she had. She created and cultivated a group. The group then became something different, and gave each of us inside of the group the power, the platform, and the foundation to be able to fight our own fights individually and independently in our own ways, and also collectively.
Yeah.
So, whatever the thought and idea that you have in your head for your business can move the exact same way. It's not always going to stay the way you want it, the way you started.
Yeah.
And it's going to ebb and flow based off of what happens in the world around you. Don't
Yeah.
be fearful, be fearless enough to start your business. Make sure that you sign up for the Mic Drop series by going to bit.ly/Mic Drop series. The link is below inside of the description. I'm your girl, Paula Marie, aka every damn thing. Okay. Only one Paula Marie, Ebony Biz Diva. Today, though, the most important one is Black Girls Do Pilates Too. You can follow me and Sonja on all social media platforms. Our info is below. Have an amazing day. Bye.
Bye.
She's at a place in her life where peace is a priority and negativity cannot exist. She's no longer matching energy. She's simply removing herself from any situation that doesn't vibrate her soul. So if you start moving funny, she's moving on.